Welcome to YuGiOhCast. Today I am joined by Tim from Yu-Gi-Oh Tube. And so we have podcast episode 3 this time. Like last time, we are more so reviewing a set, but I'm sure if some interesting news pops up, we'll also discuss that. So happy to have you, Tim. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing great. I just recorded a crazy unboxing, and we'll see where that leads us. But so yeah, today we are discussing Spell Ruler, Magic Ruler. I guess they're kind of the same set, but also not really. This is my personal favorite. And so last week, you have to go check that out as well if you haven't yet on Yu-Gi-Oh Tube. We went through Invasion of Chaos. So today it's my turn to choose a set. And then from here, I guess we'll let you, the audience, viewers, listeners, basically say which sets we would review next. So be sure to pop that in the comments. So yeah, Magic Ruler, Tim, what's your thoughts on this?
It's a set I am not as high on as you. I know for good reason. There's a lot of interest in the set, and a lot of people like the set with the tunes. Obviously, I think everyone loves tunes. I don't find anybody out there that doesn't like tune monsters. I just think they're super cool. Pegasus, nostalgic. The things that bothered me about the set, there were two things. Thing number one is Toon World, at least from my recollection, Toon World, the one that Pegasus used, at least wasn't it Toon Table of Contents, I feel like, in the show. So I think the Toon World doesn't have as much nostalgia to me personally, the artwork of the card.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
There are two arts of Toon World, right? You have the first one, which is much darker, like the one you get in the Pegasus, and then you have the way brighter one, which they released later. I think, was it in Tournament Pack that it first came? I don't know if that's the case. And then Toon Table of Contents is like based on that art, right?
Yeah. So I want to say it was like TP6, but I could be wrong on that. But it just doesn't hold that nostalgic value to me personally, because looking at the show, obviously it was a different artwork. So that's where I didn't find it as attractive. Secondly, and I'm sure we'll talk about this later in the episode, but Magic Ruler was so widely available for so long that I just lost my appeal personally as of a few years ago when pallets and pallets of cases were on the secondary market. And I just don't find the prices that we're seeing justified by the amount of supply that was just out there a few years ago. I will say, though, I do love the Toon monsters, Toon Mermaid, Toon Summon Skull, and, Toon, what was the one that was a rare? A Mangaryu Ran? That was a good one.
Mangaryu Ran. Is it rare in MRL, actually? I'm not sure, but I believe you. Yeah, it is. It is a rare, yeah.
Yeah. So I do like that card. And, of course, Hungry Burger. We all have to give... That is the grail of the set.
I agree 100%. I actually had a viewer send me one, because I didn't have one, which was amazing, so shout out to you. But yeah, Hungry Burger is the chase card for sure.
Yeah, like a Beckett 10 would be worth just thousands and thousands of dollars.
Watch out saying that, because someone's going to go buy it for an insane price now.
Oh, God. Or Crab Turtle was cool, too.
Is that in here? Damn, I have to brush up. Like, this is one of my favorite sets, but I've always looked at, like, the higher end stuff in it that maybe I haven't given enough respect to, like, the lower rarity ones.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm excited to talk about this, and I'm excited to hear your thoughts when it comes to the foils and all that good stuff. So,
yeah.
Spell Ruler too. That's a whole story on its own.
So should we move into the super rares like last time and like kind of blaze through them, and then
let's do it.
Right. So I guess we start with Black Pendant, then super rare. You already expressed your not love for Black Pendant. Why is that? Is it because of like the lack of foil on it, or?
Yeah, I mean, back in the day it was good, when you had a beatdown deck and you needed the extra 500 attack, and then it actually had a good effect when it was destroyed. Then it inflicted more damage to your opponent. So yes, when you played it was a pretty good card back in the day. I just don't find it appealing. I don't find the foil appealing. Yeah, only the pendant is foil, which I'm like, maybe Konami was trying to cut costs, or maybe Konami was just trying to look cool by just making the pendant foil. But Honestly, I will say that and confiscation preview. I can't stand confiscation. I think when I
Oh.
bought Magic Ruler as a kid, I always pulled confiscation, and I was always looking for the tune, so it just left a bad taste in my mouth.
Right. So Black Pendant, I like art wise again because I remember it. Magic Ruler was my first booster pack, but I definitely feel you that it's not the most exciting card out there. As for Confiscation, though, one thing I do want to say about that one, that was so broken back in the day. Like Confiscation, Delinquent Duo, Forceful Sentry, those were so broken that I like at least respect its history. But I do agree, like from a card perspective, if you're a kid, you're like, why the hell do I care about this card? So
Yeah, I do respect it. I mean, I do respect the effect. I respect, the meta aspect of it. But
mhm.
as a kid, I was just going for like, okay, what monster card looked the coolest? What had the highest
Yes,
attack points?
the
And
Joey
yeah, I know I
Wheeler
had a
way.
deck, but I was not like super competitive. I just played, casually. But
Hmm.
obviously, I was looking for those tunes, at least Toon World. But I never got any of those tune cards. So that's why
Ouch.
I was like, maybe that's why I'm biased. Maybe I just had bad luck with the set.
Hmm.
So.
So then we have Mahavilo. Personally, I don't give a damn about this card. Do you?
Agreed. It's not cool. It's just kind of ugly, and it's just like blah. Uh,
Then we get to Invader of the Throne. Again, I don't give a damn.
Skip it. Next.
Wow. We're being pretty brutal right here. So I keep on having to go back to this page. I may have to fix that. Then we get to Confiscation, so I already discussed that. Then we get to Giant Trunade. I do like this card a lot. Like Giant Trunade was so fucked looking that it did imprint into my mind. I also remember it being part of some starter deck. Was it the Joey one?
I think it was, yeah. But
I'm
I
not
agree with
sure.
you 100%. I think the artwork was sick. I think the effect was awesome. One thing that I just realized about Invader of the Throne, I don't want to go back, but I do have a little teeny tidbit here to note.
Hmm.
Invader of the Throne, from what I recall when I was searching PSA Yu-Gi-Oh cards, before PSA Yu-Gi-Oh cards was really even a thing,
Hmm.
before people started sending them out. The first card I ever remember seeing on eBay was an Invader of the Throne. It was a PSA 9, and they wanted like $4 or $5 for it. So like they were losing money off the bat. But that is a little fun
Wow,
fact. That may have been the first card on eBay that was graded by PSA. Now there's thousands. So
that's insane.
yeah, just a little fun fact. But yes.
Wow. So then we get to Painful Choice, and that card once again, like it was so broken as a card later on, because well, you can search anything, and then you also get stuff in your grave, which can also help you in some ways. I believe it's still banned, right?
I believe so. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that one I don't mind either. I think so far out of the ones we discussed, Giant Trunade for me, like clear cut is the winner for me personally.
I see. From so far, I want to say, yeah, I probably think as well Giant Grenade or Painful Choice. Then we get to
Mhm.
Black Illusion Ritual. So this was a really cool one in my opinion. Again, Pegasus, broken ass relinquished. It's also very colorful and dark, and that's really my style. I don't know what you think about that one.
Agreed. I loved it. If I had to pull a super, I actually think I preferred that to Toon World. I preferred Black
Oh.
Illusion Ritual because of the Millennium items.
Hmm.
Like in the show, that was like the cool thing. And Relinquished was super cool. And then obviously you get it in common form in the Pegasus deck, but the
Hmm.
hollow form of it just made it look that much sweeter. So I 100% agree. I think that is the super to get, in my opinion, in terms of nostalgic value. I just love it. I love the Millennium. And it reminds me of Gold Sarcophagus, which came out later, as we
Oh
know,
yeah.
the prize card, which I find phenomenal. I wish I had it, but I just don't.
Yeah, same. Like honestly, getting into a tangent perhaps, I have 4 Shonen Jump prize cards currently, and like a lot of them I find ugly, like this full skull, like it's rare, it's iconic, okay, I respect that, but as a card, it looks like discount red eyes to me, and I'm gonna get many people mad, but Gold Sark is one I'm like, damn, I do wish I had that one.
Well, about that, Des, if you want to talk after the show, I am. I can give you a common reprint of Gold Sark, and then I could like take some marker and shine it up a little bit, and then maybe we can
Whoa.
work something out if that sounds like a good deal on both ends.
Well, I don't have this, honestly. It's more so that I don't want that one specifically. But
Yeah, no, is it a? I'm just curious. I know we're sidetracked. Is it a 10? Is it a 9? I'm just curious.
oh
Of
no no
rated.
no! Like I said, I don't own this full sculpt. I don't
Oh,
want
okay.
it either. Whereas for Gold Sark, I
Oh,
don't own it, but I do want it.
oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm actually a big fan of that Des Vol. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Des Volgas.
I don't know
Volgas.
either.
I don't know.
I'm just
That's the
winging.
one thing. It's like I can't even pronounce the second word there. But okay, yes, yeah, I love Black Illusion Ritual. I think it
Same.
would look awesome. And a side note, as an ultimate, like if they somehow made it an ultimate, if Relinquished was ever like meta relevant, that would be super cool.
Oh yeah, but even then, like if Relinquish were meta relevant, I'm pretty sure you would use some new modern broken ritual spell that does everything 20,000
Yeah,
times better. So, alas. But then we get to the final super. Oh, not the final super rare. My bad. We get to Toon World. But honestly, in my book, this is the final super. I love this card. Even though I agree Black Illusion Ritual is insanely beautiful, it would still only get the number 2 spot for me because Toon World is just my baby. Even though I get it if you prefer the tournament pack art or wherever it came from, but I do love this card a lot. I've told this story before, but as a kid, I actually constructed my own Toon World, like out of a book, and then I put in like cardboard villages and stuff and made it pop out and crazy shit like that. So I love Toon World so much.
that's super cool though. That's a cool story. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So then we
And
have.
I'm just
Hmm?
looking. I'm sorry. I'm just looking on eBay, and it looks like Toon World and a PSA 9. The last one sold for 145 with a bunch of bids. Another at 130. Looks like a PSA 10 was a best offer of 799. Now again, I don't know what that sold for. Looks like 300 it sold for on
Uh,
November 21st.
Yeah, so the 799 isn't crossed through, so it's either that unless like you said before where they message the seller and like go through the other way. But it's at least not crossed through, so it's not a directly accepted best offer that's lower than what's listed here. But it might
Yeah,
have been
I would
lower if it went
imagine it would
direct.
be like what, three to four. I mean, I can't see it being more than four.
Um yeah, personally I can't see it being more than 4 either. I paid for mine like 270, which is technically like I overpaid at the time, but I just really wanted it and I only saw one listed.
Hmm.
But yeah, there's like this isn't rare. Like you can check here. Since October 13th, there have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sales for it in PSA 10. So it's not really unless these are all the same ones, but I don't think so. There are plenty of these out there because, like you said, like MRL was really easy to get for the longest time. It's only a super, so yeah, I don't see it being much higher than 400. But hey, we don't know how much this big one went for, of course. And if you want to complete a tune set, you do need to have this one. So
Yeah, it looks like Black Illusion Ritual. There's one from Australia. They want 228 with about $20 shipping, or best offer, which isn't too bad. It looks like Giant Grenade sold for about 200 and a 10, and Confiscation. They don't want much on that one. I think I saw it. They want like 200, but I can't imagine it selling for that.
oh yeah, I see a Black Illusion Ritual right here, also for best offer under 250. So it seems underappreciated, but that's again the case with I feel a lot of Magic cards and Trap cards. Still, people are going like, "Oh, I want this monster," forgetting that like there's so much history in some of these Magic cards. But
Yeah, yeah.
so then we get to Banisher of the Light. I don't give a damn, but I know
Oh.
it holds relevance. So I like for the longest time it was I guess the first macro cosmos type card. A lot of like decks required graveyards, and this one said, "Well, too bad for you." So I do respect that, but I don't really care for the art all that much.
I like the background, and I like how like he's pointing a finger up towards the corner, and then there's light coming out. I kind of like that, but again, it's not my favorite super by any means. I think if I had to rate my top three, I would go Black Illusion, Ritual, then Toon World, then Giant Trunade, and I'm gonna get probably a lot of hate in the comments for that because they're saying it's Magic Ruler. How do you put Toon World number two? But it's just I don't know. I just gotta go with the Millennium items, which has Relinquished, and Relinquished is an iconic card. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I respect it. Like, I would swap the Toon World for me personally with Black Illusion Ritual, but beyond that, I agree wholeheartedly. The final super we have is Messenger of Peace. Fine. I also do have to say I hate this card because it's like a floodgate type card, right? It tells you don't get to play the game. And so this was mostly used by decks that annoy the hell out of you. So I just like seeing this card, I feel this seething rage. Because I guess burn decks ran it and stuff like that, just stalling annoying strategies. And I'm like,
yeah, I used to use that card, for I want to say, was it PlayStation? They came out with a PlayStation Yu-Gi-Oh game a few years ago, and I was like, I gotta play this because it's like nostalgic. I started playing it, and there was like a way to get Exodia with like the old cards, and this was like a staple. This Messenger of Peace with Royal Library, I think it was. And then you would keep getting like spell counters, and then they could, or like Gravity Bind decks. Messenger of Peace was killer for those kind of decks, and then where you just put out these like horrible cards that inflict direct damage, and then just like troll completely. So yeah, it's a classic troll card, or just an annoying card. I agree with you 100%. Not my favorite card either. I would take it over Banisher of the Light though.
Oh yeah, 100%. I do agree with you there. So I think our top three is like pretty clear cut already. We already went through that. So then we reached the Ultras, and the first one there is Axe of Despair. Wow, that rhymed. I'm a rap god now. So, what do you feel about this one?
I like it because the OCG is just so different from the TCG version, and it was a pretty good card back in the day. Was it 1,000 attack points?
Yeah,
I believe
1,000.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty substantial back in the day.
It was the biggest buff card essentially at the time.
Yeah, you throw a Jinzo up, and then you put like an Axe of Despair on it, or you put a piercing damage monster with an Axe of Despair, or direct damage monster with an Axe of Despair, with like all the gravity binds and all that stuff going on. Like, it would really be a devastating card. I always wanted that growing up, never pulled it. I like it a lot more than I think a lot of other people do.
Oh, I see. I think it's cool. It's very iconic for me as well, because I recall using this in my deck. I don't think I used the one from Magic Ruler. I think I got one from a later print, but I do remember using it, so I do love the card a lot.
And keep in mind, the Japanese version of it, the artwork is totally different.
Yeah,
like,
the disgusting face on the end, right? Like
yeah, which I always thought was cool. I was like, man, if this was on the TCG version, this would be amazing. Like with the skull face, I guess they edited it or censored it out, but I just thought that was super cool.
Yeah, I agree. It's such a freaky card. It's so much more edgy in the OCG. But yeah, I like both arts really. So then we have another card that's really annoying. We have Spellbinding Circle. This is an iconic one. Like, Yugi used this in the show so damn often, and you always thought like, oh, he's gonna automatically win now because he's stopping the best monster with this thing. So I do like this card, but I can't see it being very expensive currently because, again, like spells and traps or magic cards and traps are very underappreciated. What do you think about this one?
I really enjoy that as well. I enjoy Spellbinding Circle because Exodia, I'm sure you know, all the pieces of Exodia, when combined, you do see the Spellbinding Circle in the background.
Is it the exact same? It like I know the circle.
Unless I'm tripping, yeah.
You have like this circle, but let me check if it's actually the same. I don't know.
If it's not, my thoughts of Spellbinding Circle are going to be crushed.
Oh yeah, it is the exact same. Yeah, I knew you had a very similar one, but I wasn't sure if it's... Yeah, it's the exact same.
That's why I love it too, because I didn't realize that till years later. I was like, wait a second. And then you look at the Exodia pieces, and it's actually Spellbinding Circle before Exodia. So it kind of previewed Magic Ruler 2 sets before it came out, which I thought was a cool little tidbit there. It was also used in the show. The OCG version of it was really crazy as well. It had the I don't know what would it be called? Kind of like the Death Star. I get what would that be? The pentagram or whatever it might be. In the
Holy
OCG.
shit.
It's super cool. It's super cool.
One thing that might be interesting to note is that I just said, yeah, spells and traps are underappreciated, right? And it's probably not expensive. But the last sale for this card was $1,379.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I sold the 10. I must have had 2 or 3 tens back in the day, and this was probably 1 or 2 years ago, and they were going. I remember selling the tens back then for 400 plus, and back then that was a
Wow.
lot of money for a PSA 10 of any ultra, and I was like, wow. And yeah, so you're right. What is it, over 1,000?
Yeah. Oh, right.
Crazy.
1,300 something right now.
Yeah,
Crazy.
it's mind blowing to me. To be honest with you, I'd rather have Mirror Force if I had to choose the trap. I
Oh,
mean, give me
same.
Mirror Force.
Absolutely. But it
But
just blows my mind because something like Trap Hole from LOB for the longest time didn't even sell for anywhere near this. And like MRL is not as rare as LOB. Now, of course, this is an Ultra, so that's like important to note, but still.
yeah, and Yugi, he used it in the show quite often, and
Yeah.
the artwork is just perplexing. There's a lot going on. I guess when you actually look deep into the artwork, it's really a really well crafted card. And again, the fact that it is associated with Exodia, which is one reason why I think Exodia Necros is still super undervalued, but that's for another episode. And then when it's the Japanese version of it, for those who don't know what it looks like, go Google Japanese Spellbinding Circle. You'll see it. It's a totally different looking card. And I think, is it the only trap in Magic Ruler? Is it the only trap card in the set? Might be. In Ultra, I mean.
In Ultra, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm wondering. We didn't discuss any traps in Supers either. It might be the only trap hollow in the entire Magic Ruler set.
Yep. Yeah, the only trap holo. There are some traps in common. Wait, yeah, there are some. You have Snake Fang, House of Adhesive Tape, Eat Gaboon, but not many. Because again, it's Magic Ruler, right? Like the goal was to have some broken Magic cards, despite LOB already having broken Magic cards.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Would I be buying a Spellbinding Circle for $1,300 before other cards that I wanted? Absolutely not.
Yeah,
so
same.
I just don't find the appeal. But I think that's overvalued. I don't know what else have we talked. Oh, Axe of Despair. I don't think that's too expensive in a 10. But
I haven't checked. Let's see. Axe of Despair. PSA 10 first. You have one going for a bid right now on PWCC, currently at 305, but that will move up because we have 2 more listed at what the fuck? 1.3 and 1.2k listed right now. Now that doesn't mean sold, of course. Sold, last one was 660 in November.
That's still a lot of money. Wow. I didn't think that would go for that much.
Yeah, I mean,
wow.
It's Yu-Gi-Oh, so everything's doubled, right?
That's insane. I remember getting rid of that for a 10 of those for, it was like 120 or 110. Oof. So, ouch.
That's a little sting. So then we get into the big daddy, the boy that's on top of the box. We have Relinquished.
Oh, yeah.
I love this card. Again, I'm a Pegasus simp. This was his beast. Like, this card was so unfair. Now, it was way too hard to summon because you had to have, like, this Black Illusion Ritual and kill something else for it. Like, even though you had 2 searchers in the starter deck to, like, search it, so that made it slightly more easy, like, still a Fisher and this guy was gone. So it was really hard to summon, but despite that, like, its skill is insane. So I think this card is so cool. Like, I also have plans to get this tattooed. Like, that's how far it goes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. When it's done, I hope everyone on your channel can see.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's not
assuming
in a weird
it's
spot.
not in the place where obviously.
No.
Yeah, totally. It would get you knocked off YouTube. But Yeah, no, I love it, dude. I love it. Pegasus's main card along with Thousand Eyes Restrict, those two cards, just the iconic, and they just look cool again with the Millennium Eye. Basically everything that comes together. It doesn't do it enough justice. The blue border, the blue background on the ritual monster makes it extra dark. I guess that extra effect there.
Yeah.
It just looks sweet. The only gripe I have with it, the only thing that kills me is it came as an ultra in the Pegasus starter deck, which you would imagine it should, but if it didn't, and if this were like the original print, ultra rare, and nothing around that era came as like a holo or something, this thing would be way, way more expensive than I think. Although it is really expensive now, but it just sucks that they made it the exact rarity in the starter deck. That just takes the little bit of it away for me.
I agree. It decreases the chase. Because, like, at least with Blue Eyes, the LOB art is so different from the starter deck art that, like, you can have lovers of both and they're not clear alternatives that make everything, like, devalued or harder to chase. Whereas here it's just the same. So I do agree with you. The one gripe I have with Relinquished is that perhaps they could have added some kind of background, even though it could have been like a very dark one. I feel like a lot of the blackness around it maybe drowns it out a little bit too much, makes it maybe a little bit too hard to read. But despite that, like, I think it's a gorgeous card.
Oh, it is. It is. And I remember when I was a kid, I looked at the text and I looked trying to read through it, and I was like, okay, this looks a little too complicated for me. I'm just gonna like put it in a binder, and then that was the end of it. But it just looked amazing. I mean, it just absolutely phenomenal looking card.
Yeah, I think it went for quite a bit lately. Wasn't it 1.7? Let me check. I know it was like something crazy. Because even a month ago, I want to say, I made a video where it sold for 1.4. And then people were already going, including me, like, wow, that is really high. And now recently, I want to say 1.7, but let me check how much it actually sold for. Yeah, so we had an auction a week ago, and it ended at 1,775.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
I mean,
wow.
It's iconic as hell, but that jumped quickly, because before that it wasn't. Like, it was nowhere near this.
I wonder what the starter deck Pegasus version would be worth. I mean, you would have to assume that the secondary print of it would go up. If this has gone up that high, you would imagine that the next best option would be in first edition SDP would be a little bit on the uprise as well. If it's not, then maybe by the time this video actually or podcast goes up, unfortunately, maybe scavengers will go crazy. But
yeah. I know for a fact that it has moved up, but I don't know by how much, and I don't see any listed currently. So, hard to say. I also don't see any sales, so who knows. But I imagine, like, as people get priced out of the MRL, indeed, the starter deck one might go up.
Yeah, it's looking like used condition is like $7, which is nothing. But I'm trying to find like near mint 15. That's not that bad. Not that, but again, near mint. I hate just buying raw cards.
Yeah,
it's just a disaster.
You're just throwing darts, really.
yeah. It looks like a 9 sold for around $90. Huh.
I'd say maybe like the 10 might be 270, maybe 300 then.
That's what I would imagine, because the decks are kind of going up, right?
The starter decks, I think, between 200 and 300 now. But I would have to check. Let's see. Starter deck Pegasus first. And I want to say these were way more printed than starter deck Kaiba and Yugi first edition. So
100%.
Whoa, these moved up. Holy hell.
Yeah, it looks like I'm looking at it as well. It's weird because one sold for $240 and another one they best offer $450, and I don't know what it actually, and then $350. Pegasus and Joey sold for $575.
So the $450 best offer, I'm quickly checking on Slab Watch, actually sold for $404.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I guess so. So then we move on to the next boy, I guess. We get Snatch Steel. What do you think of that one?
I like it. I don't love it. I think so far the ultras we've discussed have been far superior. Snatch Steel was a great card in the meta, of course, but it just, again, I wouldn't take it over the last three we discussed.
Yeah, I basically agree. I was following an auction for a 10 of it, which I felt was really cheap because it's still an ultra that's still iconic and still powerful. I forgot the price, but I know I was like, the ending price is not what I would have paid. But I do like the card, and I also remember playing it. It's currently even banned because of how good it actually is, so I do respect it for that. I do think the art is quite cool, but I agree, it's not a Relinquished. It's not a Spellbinding Circle. Though, I will say, I think it's cooler than Axe of Despair. So...
Yeah, no, for me personally, Axe takes the win. But
because of the edginess, I guess.
yeah, Snatch Steal. Again, I like it. It's nothing against it. It's crazy for those who are just watching this episode. If you saw our last episode, we almost had disagreements in terms of our opinions on every card, which was very fascinating. An Invasion of Chaos. Yes. Insect Princess was the big one that.
Oh, I remember you saying how the old school expert hated pulling it, right?
Oh yeah, he hated it. But then Ruxin, I think, commented it's like maybe he ingrained that in everyone's mind. She's like, this card stinks. And then when you watch him pull it and you're like, yeah, it stinks. And it just from then on, history.
So, an interesting one is that he on Instagram actually posted that he's starting to like it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Everyone's on the Insect Princess train, people. Buy it while you still can. Actually, I don't have one yet. Jesus fuck.
The old school experts be like, he has like hordes of them. He's got like 100 copies. He bought them at like a buck each, and he was like, okay, now let me change the thinking of these sheep. But slowly grab their attention, and
yeah, I guess so.
Invest, capital letters.
I love those eBay listings when you have like 2 diamonds and going invest.
Yeah.
So then we get to Megamorph. This card, I hate the art. I don't care for it at all. I don't like how it looks bronze and old, and it's not for me, but it was so powerful. I remember thinking, wow, I'm gonna like use this on my Cyber End Dragon and I'm gonna destroy people's lives. So for that reason, I like the card, but I don't care for the art. What do you feel about it?
Same as Snatch Steal, I think, for me personally. I like it. I don't love it. I love the use of it in the game. And what's crazy, I feel like in Magic Ruler, one could definitely argue that all the hollows in Magic Ruler were the most useful cards in the game out of like any set printed, I feel like.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I just it didn't resonate with me too much. I do remember pulling it back in the day, and that was like the Ultra that I pulled, or one of them. Mm-hmm. And I was like, it's okay. I mean, it's got a good effect, but yeah. It's alright.
I think it's quite cool. I think it's still relatively cheap. Like, I'm looking here, there's listings for 380, 400, which is high, but like, given how relevant it was, I don't know. I feel that's still quite fair, especially if we've like seen Axe of Despair go for higher. I feel like Megamorph might deserve some more love, but that's just me. But again, you love Axe of Despair, so maybe I'm trampling all over you now.
Yeah, I love it, man. But again, I don't dislike any of these cards so far. There's no cards in Ultra specifically that I'm like, oh, I could just, no, absolutely. Like Invader of the Throne was terrible. Like, throw it away.
Yeah, I feel you. So another Ultra now that I actually love is Delinquent Duo. This card is so unfair, so broken, so stupid. And then this, like, it annoys you, and then the art is these 2 imp goblins, whatever you want to call it, just laughing at you. I'm like, love it. It's so cool. It was so broken. In GOAT now, if you draw that, wow, my win rate just went up 30%. I love this card. What do you feel about this one?
Amazing card for collecting. For me personally, I never just was like into it. I just never was into it. To me, it's the same as Snatch Steal and Megamorph. I'm there. I understand, and it's just like a broken card. But like, so is Messenger of Peace and all these other cards. They're broken cards. And there's a lot of broken cards in the set, actually.
Yeah,
but,
I know.
yeah, I never. Or you know what annoyed me? Maybe when I pulled it, it was already like banned or something. So by the time I pulled it, I was like, oh man, this is like useless right now. And then maybe that's where I got the bad taste in my mouth.
I
Um,
see.
but yeah. I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I'm gonna say lukewarm, and that's gonna raise a lot of hell down in the comments. But
No, this one I actually love a lot. Like, I will pick this one over every spell magic trap card we've gone through so far. Like, this one goes right under relinquished for me. But again, that might be the jerk player talking and not the pure collector. Like, from a collecting standpoint, obviously, I would much rather pull a spellbinding circle or a relinquished. But as a player, I'm like, wow. Because essentially in LOB, you had like the power 5, right? Well, technically in MRD as well. Like, you have your Monster Reborn, Pot of Greed, Change of Heart. Damn, my mind's blanking. Pot of Greed, Monster Reborn, Change of Heart, Dark Hole, and one more. Jesus Christ, what's the power 5? There's one more broken. Oh, Raigeki. There we go. My bad.
Raigeki,
Yeah, I
yeah.
was blanking. And so you had those 5, 4 of which were LOB, 1 MRD, and Change of Heart. And then you get into MRL, and you're like, wait, how are you gonna top these 5 broken magic cards? And they were like, you know what? Here's a bunch. And Delinquent Duo is like the best one of that. So I feel like if you had to expand the power 5, quote unquote, that we had before, Delinquent Duo is the next one on the list. And I don't know, from that perspective, I just love this card. But yeah, it's very personal, of course. I find it
I
interesting.
could see it. I think I'm in the minority on this one for sure.
Ah, well, we'll see in the comments, I guess.
Yeah.
There's currently an auction going for $202, but it has 6 days left, so we'll see where that ends. As for sold items, one sold for $500. That would be me.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
And then, oh wait, the best offer for 800. Wait, let me see how much this was, because that's
800 for Delinquent Duo.
that's best offer though. So let me quickly see what it actually went for. For 550, so pretty close still. Yeah. So you could say maybe I'm biased because I own one, but I own one because I wanted one. So it's a bit of a weird one there. Then we get into the Forceful Sentry. This one is again like broken as hell, but it's strictly worse than Delinquent Duo, and the art is also far more boring to me. So do I like the card? Yes, but it's not a Delinquent Duo to me. How do you feel about this one?
I agree. I think it's the weakest one so far. If anything, Megamorph and Forceful Sentry might be the two weakest cards so far for me. Believe it or
I
not.
agree. Well, I like Megamorph maybe over Axe, but I agree that this one is definitely like the weakest Ultra. Despite it being like a broken card, meta relevance and everything, the art just doesn't do it for me, where it does on Duo. I think that's also reflected in the price, actually. I recall being able to buy a Forceful Sentry for very little, and then not going for it because the art just bored me too much. Let me check. You can get one currently. Oh yeah, here we go. One sold for $150 in October and $240 later in October. So it's definitely not nearly as loved as the other ones.
Oh yeah, I see it here as well. Yeah. Interesting. Not bad for an ultra rare, like $200. $150 for an ultra from an old set. 10.
Yeah, I mean, I would maybe argue that it's underpriced, but I don't think you have like a lot of people who go, wow, what a grail.
Yeah, I think it'd be one for set collectors, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Or like if you're thinking, oh, I have my 5 most powerful magic cards from LOB MRD, and now I want to expand with the most powerful ones from MRL, then that might be part of that set. And so I might pick one up for that reason in the future. But it's definitely like nowhere near these cards in terms of iconic relevance and so forth. So then we get to one that I do like a lot, and that's Mystical Space Typhoon. What do you like about this one? Or don't like?
Love it. it's probably top 2 to top 3 that we've discussed so far. It was a staple in every deck. And
Yep.
yes, I know I go on about how, well, I mean, if it's not really relevant, it doesn't really matter to me, and the fact that like I appreciate the artwork, but I do appreciate the artwork on this card. It's a typhoon with lightning going down the middle. Um, Fun fact on that one, the Suijin misprint, I really want that too. I don't want to pay hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars for it, but I do want that card. I just love this card. It was used in every deck, and the ultra rare foiling on it, I was so sick of seeing commons all the time because they reprinted it, I feel like 8,000 times, especially
Hmm.
early on
Yeah.
in decks and everything like that. That just shows how good it was, the fact that they reprinted this a million times over and over and over again. Um, Great card, great artwork. It had the great mix of both, so I'm digging it. I'm into it.
Yeah, I agree. That card just stood the test of time. Like, not now anymore, because now you have like Cosmic Cyclone and this crazy stuff, but for almost 2 decades, this was a staple in a ton of decks, which is crazy to think about. Like, yeah, it's really insane. And as all the spells and traps and magic cards got better and better and better, or they were already great and eventually had to be forbidden, like this one also got better. So yeah, I agree. It's a really cool card. I would definitely. I don't love it as much as Delinquent Duo, but I would give this one the third place so far, with Relinquished winning for me still.
Hmm. Yeah, I would say Relinquished, Mystical Space, and then either Axe or Spellbinding. That's where I'm at.
I see. So then we get into Toon Mermaid. I love this card. A million times. I love this card. I don't have a 10. I'm angry I don't have a 10. I have a 9. But I think this card is amazing. The blue really pops. The green pops. You have the pink. It pops. It's a Toon card. It's an Ultra Toon card. Like, I think this card is way cooler than Toon Summoned Skull. I also recall it's way better in the anime than Toon Summoned Skull. So yeah, I love this card. What do you feel? How do you feel about it?
I 100% agree. That would take the new spot. I wouldn't say it would be above Relinquished. I don't know. I'd have to actually think about it. I think whatever's going to happen, it's going to be Toon Mermaid, Toon Summon Skull, Relinquished, somewhere in that top 3. I don't know where I'm going to mix and match them. But yeah, I love this card. I actually agree with you too. I think it's cooler than Toon Summon Skull. I remember buying the packs when I was a kid, and I was like, I just want one of those two. Like, if I could just get either Mermaid, Summon Skull, or of course Blue Eyes Toon, then I'd be super happy.
Yeah,
And I do agree with you. The colors, everything, looking at it, and it's just a fun looking card. Everything about it is super fun. And I love it as well. For someone that never played, this card could have been terrible, and I'll still love it. So,
oh yeah, it was
like,
terrible. Like
you
tunes
know,
as a whole are terrible. I try so hard to make them work somewhat, but they just have so many restrictions. But regardless, I love them because of the anime, because of Pegasus and everything around it. I also recall this monster being extremely like playful in the anime, and that made you like love tunes even more. Yeah, I love this card a lot. I think it's. I don't want to say overvalued, but if we go to Magic Ruler being so available for so long, I don't know if we'll see like a grading stampede on this card. Maybe you know more about like what people are sending in right now here. So sold, we had. Oh, actually, it's quite cheap. What the hell? You had a best offer under 700 in October. I would have bought at that price, honestly. But
yeah,
I
and it
doubt
looks like
it's
a
still at
nine.
that.
9 at 175. That's affordable. That was in October. And
Yeah.
8 went for literally $50 shipped. $51, $52 shipped,
Yeah,
which is
so my
crazy.
mind was clouded with I guess Toon Summon Skull's price, because Toon Summon Skull was like up there in the between 1,000 and 2,000. So I was like, if Mermaid is at that, I wouldn't pay it. But actually, it's quite affordable for now still. I don't know what it's listed at though. Oh, it's currently listed at 2K. So don't see any other listings.
Yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't
Although,
buy it at that.
yeah, no, no. Although I would have it. I would rather have it than Spellbinding Circle. So there's that.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
I agree 100%.
One
Yeah.
thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look up the pop report to see maybe Spellbinding Circle's pop is just extremely low.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I noticed with Spellbinding Circle, from what I recall, was the centering on that specific ultra was a little worse than some of the other ones. I'm not saying it was horrible, but I remember a lot of them being a little worse cut.
Oh, I see. I don't know about that. I've never sent in a spellbinding circle, so no clue.
Hmm.
I don't think I've held a first edition Magic Ruler spellbinding circle.
Really?
Yeah, I know I had the Unlim in some deck, but I don't think I've held the first edition MRL spellbinding. That's actually insane.
And I think when you actually see it in person, I think the Ultra and the Hollow pop on that card, with all the colors going on with it, it makes it look really good. And one thing to know too with Spellbinding Circle is I think they didn't really reprint it that much. It wasn't reprinted
Mm-hmm.
to oblivion like some of these other cards. And actually, for what it's worth, the Toon cards weren't really reprinted to oblivion either.
Yeah, I'm aware that that's actually an interesting point. The other few months ago, I was looking to bling out a Toon deck and make it like as viable as possible, but again, Toons tend to suck. And if you want a foil Toon Mermaid, the only one is Magic Ruler. So I had to go buy Unlim Magic Ruler Toon Mermaids in order to bling out the deck, which blew my mind because for all the reprints that you see everywhere, if you want foil Toon Mermaids, you have to go back to the original or the SRL reprint.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I'm looking at Spellbinding. It's a pop 28 out of. Let's see how many. Well, Two Mermaid pop 53 out of 146 were 10s.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about a third. Spellbinding Circles 28 out of about 90. So
Ooh,
yeah, it's a
yeah,
little
it's
bit less. A
tough
little
grade.
bit less. And just out of curiosity, while I'm on this, Summon Skull. Let's just see. Toon Summon Skull is looks like a 50. Oh no, 82 out of 180. So it's pretty high pop though with 82.
Yeah, almost half.
Yeah, interesting. Hungry Burger pop 5 out of 8 graded.
Woo! So I'm sending in that hungry burger that I got as a gift. Not for sale ever. Like I just appreciate it as a gift so much, but I want to have it in my collection as the holy grail, obviously.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I have a Ghost Rare Hungry Burger if they came out with that.
Oh, I would instantly be all over that. Not even joking.
Oh man. Oh, and one side note is I think what was it? Labyrinth Wall was a common in this set, and I think Slot Machine. I always loved the card Slot
Yes,
Machine.
me too.
That was
Absolutely.
cool. Super cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I also like the 777 card that you like
Yep.
combined with it. Yeah, yeah.
7 completed, I think, right? I think who was the train or not? I'm
Bandit,
thinking
Bandit
Bandit.
Keith.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I was going Pokemon terms. Who was the trainer? No, who was the duelist? I was Bandit that had it.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And Slot Machine was like short printed as hell, right?
Yeah, I want to say it was either a short print or super short print. I think Labyrinth Wall maybe was the super short print. And it wasn't Wall Shadow, I think, either a short print or super short print.
Looks like here it says Slot Machine was a super short print. Oh, Eternal Rest is also a super short print. I recall
Oh,
pulling
that's
this. Like, this is one of the cards that I pulled out of my very first Magic Ruler pack, I want to say. Maybe second or third, but I remember calling this. I thought this card was insanely cool.
It's super cool. Yeah, and it's actually crazy thinking about how many cool commons were in MRL. Like, we're going back to the other episode we had, Invasion of Chaos. It was basically foil heavy and front loaded, but like the commons, I don't recall any cool commons like the MRL commons on here. Really don't. Oh, and Upstart Goblin was a common
Yes, and that old thing is broken as hell.
too. Yeah, I wonder what like a 10 common Upstart Goblin would go for it. I wonder if there's any.
I
Just
can
gonna
check,
look on
but the big issue with commons, especially if MRL was so available, is that there's someone out there with 50 copies, and the second the price goes
Yeah.
up, they just instantly grade them all and start flooding the market. Like we saw that in Pokemon Jungle and so forth, right? Like people paying thousands for Eevee, was it from Jungle or Fossil?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
it
that's
just
true.
crashed back down. So I feel very iffy on some of these commons.
Slot Machine PSA 10 common sold for $60. Wall Shadow. Let's see. There was a 9 Labyrinth Wall that was $20. And let's see what else here. Oh, Magical Labyrinth was also the magic card was also in that set. That was cool. I remember the whole Labyrinth episode, or was it a movie, or I don't know what it was.
Oh, it was an episode with the Paradox twins.
Yeah, that was
with
cool.
Gate Guardian and so forth. So moving on to Toon Summoned Skull. Once again a Toon, so I'm mega biased, and I think this card is amazing and gorgeous and perfect in every way. But I do have to say I prefer Toon Mermaid. We already discussed that, but it's still like a top contender for me for sure. How do you feel about it?
Same. Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong. And then the foil on it just pops. You know, I feel like the foil on a lot of MRL cards, for whatever reason, it seems like they just crank the foil up on some of these cards. I feel like there's a lot of pop, specifically when it comes to this set, compared to like something, I feel like card or sets like DCR or like Labyrinth of Nightmare. Like some of the foil wasn't like that crazy on it. I feel like the foil in MRL was just shine, like you get blind by the secret rare.
I feel like in MRL, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like they had way more foil on outlines, and that makes it pop, whereas if you go to something like even LOB, they're mostly like coloring in stuff, whereas in MRL they're like just adding around it, I want to say. Like look at Toon Summoned Skull, like the red outline is also glowing, right? Whereas if you go to then something like Blue Eyes in LOB or whatever, they're mostly trying to foil like the inner and then have a foil background, but that doesn't make it pop as much.
Yeah, that is true. I'm looking at it now. Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, it really does make it pop. Yeah, and I will say for another episode, Legacy of Darkness, the foil bleed is crazy on that set.
Oh yeah,
and Retro Pack 2. I don't know if you've seen Retro Pack 2 cards, but the foil just is like explodes off the card. It's crazy.
Is Blue Eye Shining in 2 or in 1?
It's in 2. It's in 2. Yes.
Yeah. I'm aware of that. Then yeah, I've seen Blue Eye Shining's PSA 10, and I've seen them like glow, and I'm like, damn, I wish I had that card. That is such a cool card. But that might be a better other episode to simp all over that one.
Blue Eyes Toon, I like it a lot.
Yes.
I will say it was never like my favorite secret. Like I'm trying to like mentally think of all the secrets that came out. Like I just liked other cards more. Like it's not that it's a bad card, but like just going on other sets and just thinking of other secrets. There were other secrets that were like super cool, like Jinzo and Vampire Lord and Gemini Elf and Yada and Injection Fairy Lily. I mean, there's so many that are so good.
So I'll say this is one of my favorite secrets. I don't know if it's the first because Jinzo exists, and Chaos Emperor like exists, but for me it's right up there with them as one of the best secrets. But again, that's like my Toon bias speaking. I think this card is so funny, and when Pegasus like summoned it in the episode, Kaiba says something along the lines of, "What did you think to my thing, my beast or whatever?" And he goes like, "I just made it better and far more cuddly," is what he said. And I'm like, "Damn, yeah, you did." So since then, this cuddly boy is 100% one of my favorite secrets.
Yeah, I can't imagine that someone would dislike this card. If anyone dislikes this card, comment below and please just give a reason.
Let's go, man. Hold me back.
Maybe they just want to stir up some controversy if they say they dislike it. But I don't know. I find it impossible that someone just can't like it. Yeah. Unless they're like, oh, I don't like the cartoon version of it. It's too silly. And it's like, maybe they're like, oh, it's got to be serious. Blue Eyes has to be like badass and just like blast everyone to pieces and just look cool. I don't know. I don't know.
So, I mean, I didn't like we if people didn't see it before, the YuGiOhCast logo, we have Exodia Necros and then we have Blue Eyes Toon on there. So I did pick that one as one of my favorites for a reason.
Yeah, well deserved too. It is a sick card, and I'll be honest, I like it way more than the alternative, which we'll get into probably in the next minute or two. Serpent Knight. I find Blue Eyes Toon just exponentially more cool of a card than Serpent Knight.
Oh, really? So obviously I'm gonna have to pick Blue Eyes Toon's side. However, I do actually like Serpent Knight Dragon a lot as well. So, like, I don't know if you know about this story. Again, I like to tell stories. Once when I was a kid, I traded my Winged Dragon overall GBI for a Serpent Knight. And then I regretted it so much that I went to my mom, started crying, and had her refund the trade because I wanted my Winged Dragon back. But ever since then, I do feel like, damn, Serpent Knight is still such a cool card. I do want it back. And so now I have to, getting them graded. But I do think this card is really cool.
What version of the GBI was it? The Ultra or Secret?
It was the
Raw?
Ultra.
All right, all right. At least it wasn't the Secret, but still. I mean, but if something like that happened, I don't know how you still have like this, I guess, affection towards the card. Like if it were me, I'd be like, I traded my damn God card for this nonsense, and you like had this like bias towards Serpent Knight for like the rest of your life.
I don't know. I think both are really cool. You know, in an ideal world, little me just had both, right? But that would be illegal. So I don't know. I think it's badass.
Yeah, I also think that maybe it's the fact that I saw it in my collect. Like, I think I pulled it a few times, so maybe I got extra lucky and I kept pulling it. But I think, again, I was disappointed that I didn't get the Blue Eyes Tune for whatever reason. I'm like, why can't I get the Blue Eyes Tune? But I didn't know there was hobby and retail and blisters and boosters. So I was chasing the tunes, and I kept getting Serpent Knight, which is a cool consolation prize in my mind as a kid. But it was always that disappointment, and the fact that I always seemed to go and look at other people's binders, and it seemed like they always had Serpent Knight Dragons laying around. So maybe I was just like, I just got sick of seeing the card. I mean, a lot of people love it, and it's a dragon, so a lot of people also love dragons. I like dragons, but for whatever reason, this one just doesn't do it for me. Maybe it just because it really wasn't useful in the game, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely wasn't. It was worse than so many alternatives. It was, however, Rex Raptor's second best card, if I remember correctly, right? Like once he lost the Red Eyes to Joey, this was the second best one, I want to say. Maybe my mind is foggy on that one. But yeah, I also think just the blue with the red really pops really well. But it's definitely not beating Blue Eyes Toon in any way. Blue Eyes Toon was hobby while this was retail, right?
Blue Eyes Toon was hobby, yeah. What's interesting, it reminds me a little bit of Trihorn Dragon in the fact that it's like, it's just there. It's kind of, to me, secondary compared to the other secret in the set. You know, because in LLB, there's the guy, the Dragon Champ, and MRL, there's Blue Eyes Toon, and you just want to have those other cards more. So maybe if it were in a different set, if Serpent Knight were in a different set, maybe I'd appreciate it a little more. But it's just, to me, I just don't, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling I'm looking up the actual photo now to see if there's any subtle details that I've missed, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly not as appreciated as Blue Eyes Toon. Like, I want to say 2 months ago, I could buy this card for 40 minty. Maybe I was just really lucky, but I literally bought 2 of that minty for 40 each, which is not a lot of money.
Blue Eyes Toon?
No, Serpent Knight.
Oh, no. Yeah, it's still great. That's still a great price.
Yeah. Whereas Blue Eyes Toon, it's like, oh, you have one for 600? God, I hope it doesn't grade bad.
Yeah. I do like the red. I mean, I will say I see what you're saying with the red background on it. The red background does look nice.
So, a Blue Eyes Toon did sell for $4,250 3 days ago, and that is insane to me. What's the pop report on that thing?
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up. Was there any sales of Blue Eyes Toon before that? I'm just curious, like, if it was just an outlier or.
So in November, best offer accepted slightly below 4K. In October, a 3K. October, a 2.4K, and then a 2.3K. So the rise, obviously, like, it still doubled in 2 months, but the rise was gradual. Like, you had plenty of sales moving up to this new number.
Yeah, it's showing a pop, 296 graded, 124.10, so
that is
a little less
high.
than half. And then what's crazy is there's 91 nines, which if you add those two together, I mean, that counts for probably about 85% of the pop. 85% of the pop is around between 9s and 10s.
Right.
Which is crazy to me. I mean, at that point, it's strictly demand that's driving these prices. And of course, you could also argue that there's these great all-time investors getting into this stuff, and they're saying, "Oh, it's a Blue Eyes and it's a tune, so you gotta buy it," just like with the base set Charizards, as we saw at Pokemon. So
Yeah.
there's always that concern that these people are buying it up because it's a Blue Eyes, and let me just buy it up. So people could get burned doing that, but
Yeah.
we'll have to see.
I feel you, especially once again, like, if there are still people sitting on actual cases of MRL, I would feel very iffy going ham on these higher ends, at least from an investment standpoint. Now, personally, I bought them because I love tunes, so I don't give a damn. They're not leaving my collection ever anyway. But if I had to, like, hedge it as a monetary play, I would be cautious on these for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it attracts a lot of people that don't know a dang thing about the game, and they're like, okay, Blue Eyes, secret rare, so that means it's like the highest rarity. They're like, okay, then what? There's nothing wrong here. I mean, if DDS is 10, 15K, then why isn't Blue Eyes tune and DDS the pop is about the same? So that's what they're probably thinking. Well, it's the same pop, but it's just too risky for me. It's one of those things like when you decide, for me, if I decide to buy or sell. Or sell, for example, I'm like, would I buy it at that price?
Yeah.
If that's a no, then it's probably worth selling. So I'll be honest, would I buy a Blue Eyes tune at $4,500? No. So then it might be time to sell. I mean, if I didn't only have one, if I had a few laying around, then I would be selling right now.
Mm-hmm. Now, on the flip side, though, we could be saying this right now, and in 3 years look back and go, "Holy shit, you could get it for $4." So
yeah, I mean, that's very possible. It's very possible.
Yes. Looking at Serpent Knight, though, I see some really interesting movements. So where Blue Eyes Toon went up and up and up, November 2nd, you had a best offer accepted below 2.5k. November 18, you have a best offer accepted below 1.8k. November 26, you have an auction, and it only reaches 800. So
it's going down, yeah.
Huh. Yeah. So maybe in our November, like, I want to say Yu-Gi-Oh started being hyped more and more and more, like right around Logan Paul Pokemon stuff. Like, you know, people got more into trading cards despite COVID already, like, blasting everything up. And then people noticed, oh, Pokemon is going up, what about Yu-Gi-Oh? And then you had even more, like, speculative movement there. And maybe people moved into stuff like this, and then they noticed, damn, there's a lot of these out there, and then they're not as hot as Blue Eyes, and I feel like, maybe the demand for Serpent Knight was inflated around that point, and then couldn't hold.
Yeah, what is interesting is that there are 205 graded, 82 10s. So a little less than half, but 82 is, 40 less than Blue Eyes Toon. But again, you could see that the demand for Blue Eyes Toon is much more than the demand for Serpent Knight. And I want to say, I can't remember, and I'm sure someone else, I could ask someone and they would know this answer. I want to say the cases and the pallets of cases that were discovered, I think it was a mix of 24 and 36 packs, but I think more of them were 36 pack boxes, which would indicate that, more of them were Serpent Knight boxes, less were Blue Eyes Toon boxes. But again, I don't know that 100% fact, so I can't tell, I can't say the exact details there. Someone else might know that answer. But nonetheless, it's all iffy. I just don't like Magic Ruler in terms of an investment set. I've never liked it, and I feel like prices have really gone up, but I don't know. I think alternatively, you could get something much better for the 4.5K that you would get for Blue Eyes Toon.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Put it toward a prize. Put it towards something else. Whether it be a prize card or some sort of ultra from another set.
Are there prize cards for 4.5?
No, but I mean, you could put it towards that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Instead, because I find the risk reward it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
But again, I guess anything with Blue Eyes, you can't really. I always say never sell Blue Eyes, so that's where there's the discrepancy.
I agree 100%. Now, if you have any Cyber Signs at 4.5, hit me up.
If only we could take a time machine back to about a year ago at Dave and Adams, because they were just like unloading them.
Oh yeah, I know. I got like the tail end of their unloading. Like, I want to say they uploaded one once a month or so, or once every 2 months. And when they came up, like I scooped them up, so I have two because of that. But then they ran out, clearly, and here we are.
Yeah, I regret. I remember seeing 9s for like 3K and then 4K and then 5K, and I thought about the 5, but I was like, ah. And then I remember seeing like PSA 10s that when they were like 3K, and then I just kept getting outbid by 1 bid every time. I was like, every
Damn.
time. Yeah. So, what are you gonna do? But it's hindsight. I'm lucky to picked up the backup Stein. It was an 8.5.
Oh yeah,
I
I
want to
saw.
say it was like 2.5, which is not bad.
Oh yeah, not bad at all. I mean, if you saw, was it Sonny's Raw Stein go for 10K?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Or was it Sassy's?
Sassy's.
Yeah, Sassy's for like 10K. And on the back, it had like a little bit of a scratch, I want to say. Like something was going on the back. Well, I was like, wow, that's insane. Like that was when I want to say the Stein started really popping. Because you had the 10, I want to say, sitting at 15K for quite a while on eBay. And then that one raw sold. And then we started noticing like, oh, Stein is now 30K. And then it sold for 32 again. And I'm like, damn, I guess that's the price now.
Yeah, I'm wondering what the 10 is worth. I feel like the 10 is like 25 now still. I think it cooled off a little bit.
I don't think it ever sold for 25 though.
Really? And I know the BGS 10, someone sold it through Facebook. I want to say like a month ago for like 25.
Oh, really?
I think so. And I think David bought it. And I don't know if that's supposed to be public knowledge, so
Oops. But yeah, Cyberstein sold for 30K and then sold again for 32 in 10 and had no sales beyond that, at least on eBay. So I don't know about the Facebook or private or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I want to say it cooled down a little bit, but again, I mean, by cooled down, yeah, it's still worth like what 10 times what it was worth a year ago.
Yeah.
So, I know obviously Crush Card has just exploded, and all the rest of them.
Yeah, I mean, was Crush Card like ever sold the past months? Like beyond the fucking 5 I have, I don't think I've seen any sales.
Oh, so you have 5 Crush Cards?
No, I have a 5, a PSA 5.
Oh, I was gonna say you have 5 Crush Cards. I was like, holy moly!
No.
Time for a giveaway on YouTube.
Wow, no, I don't think so.
Oh man,
well,
that'd be crazy. Petty.
Oh yeah, Petty would be all over me.
Yeah, he's got a lot of prize cards. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say what he's got, but he's got a nice stash.
Is there anything else we want to discuss on MRL? I feel like we covered it pretty well, from all the cards to the potential risks.
I think that's it. If you want to go over quickly before we wrap it up, the first ed SRL.
Oh right.
Spell Ruler. So from my understanding, and again, I'm no expert on the whole Spell Ruler set, came out in Europe. There was a first edition print run of it, and it was called Spell Ruler First Edition. Obviously, this contradicts because it was kind of in that middle phase between when Konami was changing Magic to spells, because it was that Magic the Gathering fiasco where they kind of, and Wizards of the Coast kind of was getting on Konami for an upper deck for using the word Magic. I want to say at their peak, first ed SRL packs were going for like $600 a pack, $500-600 a pack, and I think now they're down to, I want to say, to about the 200 to 300 area. But again, that could be a little off, so feel free to look it up. And what's different about those packs is all it was MRL-E, I believe, is what they came out of, MRL-E, and they were first ed. There were 17 LOB cards, according to the wiki. 17 LOB cards that were in SRL, or I guess MRL-E, that came out. So Flame Swordsman was, for example, a common, and there were other commons that were in MR. So Pot of Greed would be a rare as MRL-E, which I found actually just those two cards specifically I found very interesting.
Yeah,
but aside from that, I mean, it's just the standard European Magic. Some people said, "Oh, error set." Some people say,
I saw that as well.
It's an error set, which is crazy. You know, like I don't understand how people say it's an error set. It's just basically a European set, and I would never in a million years ever buy packs of those cards for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Because what's to stop someone in Europe saying, "Oh, these are actually worth something," and then just saying, "Here's a case of them," or "Here's a few cases," and
Yeah, I mean, personally, like, I saw the error setting as well. I think Simply Unlucky opened some unboxing of it and went like, "Whoa, error, you guys!" And I get it, because first of all, if you own the cards, you're trying to sell them for a premium, and if you're a YouTuber, you do anything to get clicks, right? Like, even I try to be super rational on my channel and everything, but when it comes to titles and thumbnails, it's not clickbait, because you are delivering on what the title promises, but you're still doing your best to get clicks regardless. And I get it, so you can say error set because it gets those clicks, but getting financially like speculative on them because of just such specific, I don't know, that's not for me. Personally, like, if anything is Spell Ruler, I just don't even touch it, because I'm like, I want the original, I want the Magic Ruler. It's also like the last set where you still had Magic cards, right? And from then on they went to Spell, I want to say. Or did they have Magic beyond that? Maybe I'm wrong on that one. I'm not sure.
I want to say maybe a set or two after that, but again, I'm not 100% either.
Yeah, Pharaoh Servant had... I quickly just wanted... Well, Pharaoh Servant, it seems to all say Spell, so...
Oh, wow.
But maybe I'm totally wrong here and I'll get totally roasted, so I definitely don't want to say that. Also, 7 Completed actually only came out in PSV and not LOB. So...
Oh, I thought that one was...
Yeah, so Slot Machine was in MRL. Why did I say LOB? Slot Machine was in MRL, but 7 Completed was in a PSV.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah,
because
weird
you
how they split it up
together. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess because 7 Completed is like helping machine monsters, and PSV had like Jinzo and so forth. Maybe something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like Spell Ruler, First Dead boxes, the European ones are just so overvalued. And I think we have seen that market correction. I think people realize that, yeah, this is not an error set. This is just a standard European set. There's a million European sets of every set, whether it be LOB, MRD, any sort of set that came out in Europe with an E. Usually it means it's less expensive than the North American versions. So why this one was more, I could see it because of the unreleased cards that went to that set, like Flame Swordsman and Pot of Greed. But aside from that, it's not like there were hollows, that were put into that set. So.
Yeah, I do want to say, though, I don't know if European cards are actually undervalued because of not being rare, because I do want to say that I don't actually see many European cards even in Europe, as someone like always looking for, oh, maybe someone has a sick raw card, because grading isn't as big in Europe as well. Like, I don't think they're actually much less rare, because you also have to remember that a lot of countries in Europe had specific printings with their own language. So like, if you went to France, wait, I don't know if it was France, but if you went to Spain, for example, they had their stuff. German, they had their stuff. And so finding actual English packs from back then, it's quite hard. So I'm not sure if it's actually rarity. I think it's just American collectors want the American things they remember. And that, I feel that might be why they are more expensive, more so than the rarity. But I might be wrong on that.
No, yeah, you're 100% right. I should restate that in terms of the foreign cards are actually more rare in terms of print run and quantity out there. Mm-hmm. But I think the demand for that stuff is just so far,
way
below.
Lower. Yeah. I feel you.
I'll be honest. Like, I prefer, like, I have a Spanish, I want to say, it's one of these really unique cards. Spanish Duelist League 18 Dark Magician Girls with the red text.
Oh,
which, yeah, it's hard enough to find the English version of it, but like the Spanish version, I mean, that's cool. Like, something like that is just super cool. Or like the Italian, French versions of cards, and obviously Japanese cards. And there's a lot of stuff that the foreign cards specifically, they're hard to find. Like, for example, if you find like a French first edition pack of one of the original sets, that's hard to find. So like, I am interested in that, and I might be in the minority. But just the general consensus and general population, the demand isn't there. Maybe one day it will creep up a little bit and kind of, be another avenue for collectors to go. I hope it does. But for right now, I'm not minding because it's so cheap compared. I could pick up some stuff now. Spell Ruler on the other end is not. So that is too much for me.
Yeah, I feel you 100%. So I think there's a good point to wrap up. So thank you so much for being on once again. Be sure to go subscribe to Yu-Gi-Oh! Tube and then subscribe to this channel as well. We basically alternate between the two channels with the podcast so far. Maybe one day we go to another YouTube channel altogether. I don't know. I think Tim doesn't know. So we'll just see where this goes. Again, do put in the comments down below which set we should do next, because I think it'd be cool if we just listen and we'll see. And so, yeah, Tim, if you have anything to say, go ahead.
I think that's it. I appreciate coming on, as always. I think we got a good thing going with the sets and discussions with the sets, and I like to hear the comments down below and see the comments down below. There's a lot of good ideas, I think, that have come from comments, and I also like to see other people's opinions when it comes to like artwork, prices, values, and other sets. So a lot of good stuff down below. Please keep watching and commenting. We appreciate it, as always.
Yep, absolutely. I'll see you soon. Ciao.